Hello, Room 22 students. I'm going to read Magic Treehouse to you guys. Uh, Not in order because I don't have all the books in order, but I jumped ahead to book 47, Abe Lincoln at last. And I know we've learned about Abraham Lincoln, so I thought you might find this interesting. So it's book 47. That's way ahead. It's like almost the 20th Merlin mission. And so I'm just going to get started. Prologue. One summer day in Frog Creek, Pennsylvania, a mysterious treehouse appeared in the woods. A brother and sister named Jack and Annie soon learned that the treehouse was magic. It could take them to any time and place in history. Jack and Annie have since gone on many adventures in the magic treehouse and have completed many missions for both Morgan Le Fay and Merlin, the magician of Camelot. And we saw their first Merlin mission in Christmas in Camelot. On some of their journeys, Jack and Annie received help from two young enchanters, Teddy and Kathleen, who are learning magic from Merlin and Morgan. And remember, Teddy and Kathleen, we met Teddy, the dog, who was really a boy. Now, Teddy is in big trouble. While Merlin and Morgan were away, Teddy accidentally put a spell on Penny, Merlin's beloved penguin. So we've never met Penny, but I think it's like called even the Emperor Penguins or something like that. There's this penguin called Penny, and I guess Penny is like Merlin's pet penguin. Teddy accidentally put a spell on Penny. The spell turned her into a stone statue. Teddy thinks that he could be banished from the kingdom, kicked out of the kingdom unless Jack and Annie can help. Teddy and Kathleen have found an ancient spell that can undo Teddy's accidental magic. To make the ancient spell work, Jack and Annie must find 4 special things, just like always, each from a different time and place. They've already found 2 of these things, an emerald in the shape of a rose and a white and yellow flower. Now Jack and Annie are waiting to find out what they must search for next. Annie peeked into Jack's room. "Ready?" she whispered. "Yep," said Jack. Even though it was 2 hours before school started, Jack and Annie were already dressed. Jack put his notebook and pencil into his backpack. Then he picked up the pack and his sneakers and followed Annie into the hall. In their sock feet, Jack and Annie tiptoed past their parents' bedroom. Then they slipped down the stairs. When they reached the front hall, Jack and Annie put on their jackets and shoes and stepped outside. The early morning sky was gray. Everything was quiet except for the sound of a gentle spring rain. "Should we get our raincoats?" Jack asked. "It's clearing up," said Annie. She pointed to the blue sky in the distance. "Oh, good," said Jack. "Let's hurry." That makes me infer they're not going to get their raincoats. Jack and Annie stepped off their porch. Then they ran up the sidewalk and crossed the street. By the time they started into the Frog Creek woods, the rain had stopped. Misty rays of sunlight slanted down through the wet trees. Jack and Annie kept going until they came to the tallest oak. The leaves at the top of the tree sparkled with raindrops, and the magic treehouse was lit by the morning sun. "It's waiting for us," said Jack. "I knew it would be," said Annie. She grabbed the rope ladder and started up. Jack climbed after her. Inside the treehouse, they looked around for the 2 special things they had found on their last missions. "Great, they're still here," said Jack, pointing to a green jewel and a white and yellow flower in the corner. Remember, the green jewel is an emerald. "And it looks like Teddy and Kathleen sent some stuff for us," said Annie. Lying in the shadows was a book. Next to it were a small folded note and a tiny blue bottle. Jack picked up the book. Its cover showed an old black and white photograph of a building. It looked like the White House in Washington, D.C. Jack gasped. "Oh man, Abraham Lincoln!" The book is called The Life of Abraham Lincoln. By the way, my daughter Lily's inside the house making faces at me. "Wow," said Annie, looking at the book's cover. "He was a great president." "No kidding," said Jack. "Do you think we're actually going to meet him?" He opened the book to the first page and read aloud. "Abraham Lincoln served as President of the United States from March 1861 until his assassination in April of 1865. He led the country through the terrible crisis of the American Civil War. He preserved the Union of States and outlawed slavery." I can't believe it, Jack said, closing the book. Abraham Lincoln! Do you think he's supposed to help us find the third thing to break the spell that turned Penny into a statue? Maybe, said Annie. Let's see what else Teddy and Kathleen left for us. She picked up the tiny bottle and the note. She unfolded the note and read aloud. The third thing to break the spell is a single feather from a hero's hand. A single feather from a hero's hand. Most heroes don't have feathers, right? Unless they're a bird, I guess. Use it wisely to give him hope. The hope he needs to heal his land. So I'm going to read this note one more time. The third thing to break the spell is a single feather from a hero's hand. Use it wisely to give him hope. The hope he needs to heal his land. Well, we know Abraham Lincoln was trying to heal the land of the United States during the Civil War, so we'll figure that out. That sounds like a riddle, said Jack. I'll bet Abraham Lincoln is the hero, said Annie, and, she looked at the note again, we have to get a feather from him. Then we'll use the feather to give him hope. Confusing, said Jack, just like it was confusing to me. A lot of our missions sound confusing at first, don't you think, said Annie, but in the end, they all make sense. Yeah, I guess, said Jack, but that doesn't help us right now. There must be a magic potion in the bottle. What does the label say? Annie held up the small blue bottle and read the tiny writing on its label aloud. Take a sip. Make a wish for one thing to help you on your mission. Remember, trust the magic. I'll read it one more time, kids. The label on the blue bottle says, take a sip. Make a wish for one thing to help you on your mission. Remember, trust the magic. That sounds kind of general, said Jack. Wish for one thing to help us on our mission? That could be anything. And remember to trust the magic, said Annie. She shrugged. Okay, we'll try to do that, said Jack. He took the bottle and the note from Annie and put them into his backpack. We've got everything we need, said Annie. A mission, a research book, and a little bit of magic. Ready to go? Yep, said Jack. He pointed to the picture of the White House on the cover of their book and said, I wish we could go there. The wind started to blow. The treehouse started to spin. It spun faster and faster. Then everything was still. Absolutely still. And that's where I'm going to stop today in Abe Lincoln at Last. And I plan on putting these videos on YouTube. That's where you'll be able to find them from now on.